this mental space. If you ever need me, just call. I'ma come running, give it my all. Love is love, God wins. Keep your vibrations high and watch how your blessings.
Wise on YouTube, right off DaWise.
Okay, I'll look you up.
I'm trying to see, why is this? Okay, that's working. Sounds not coming through. Let me see.
Why do you deny me?
Appreciate these
You
lives.
chose the lie created for you just to hide in. Why obsessed about surviving? Fighting over creation made for all to thrive in. When love speaks, you say you're listening. I wonder if you hear me. Love is love, love is love. Always is, always was, will always be just love. Always complete, always enough. Love is love, love is love. Always is, always was, will always be just love. Always complete, always enough. Love is love. Was your heart ever my home? So cold that chaos sits on your throne. Stuck in a loop for how long? Your pride convinced the right is wrong. When I speak, you say you're listening. When will you ever hear me? Love is love, love is love. Always is, always was, will always be just love. Always complete, always enough. Love is love, love is love. Always is, always was, will always be just love. Always complete, always enough. Love is love. Was your heart ever my home? So cold that chaos sits on your throne. Stuck in a loop for how long? Your pride convinced that right is wrong. When I speak, you say you're listening. When will you ever hear me? Love is love, love is love. Always is, always was, will always be just love. Always complete, always enough. Love is love, love is love. Always is.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Come here, hear me, hear me, hear me. Can you guys hear me? Hear me, hear me? Okay. So, where did we leave off? I think we left off. We were talking about black magic and so on and so forth. And then we had to get into like the Sumerian texts and everything like that. And then there was a bunch of other stuff that we had to, jump around about. Around about. SRA. Of course. Of course. Always getting to that point. The misery programs, right? This is where a lot of women comes in. Like once you realize that, the women are the ones who's passing on this RN that is in our DNA, that is a part of our nervous system, that is a part of spirituality, so on and so forth, right? Now you realize why they have these misery programs put in place, right? Everybody on TikTok, go over to Ralph DaWise on YouTube. Ralph DaWise, Ralph D.A. Wise on YouTube. Go over to Ralph D.A. Wise on YouTube. I know there's only 12 people in here, but those 12 people, you go support the YouTube page. It would be greatly, and hit me with like a super sticker when you get in there or something. Hit me with something. So YouTube won't take my monetization. They'll see that things are, happening on my page, and they'll be like, okay, let's go ahead and keep him around. Might get some more commercials. Somebody super sticker something. You're in the box. Shauna, you're in the box. Oh, damn. Zip it. Zip it. They dipped up out of here good. So, right, you got these different grids, right? Planetary grids, networks, right? And all of these planetary grids and networks, they're connected in some sort of way up under us through Lee line. They manipulate this. They call it the Holy See, but it is connected to us. This is the as without, so within concept. So the same thing that exists outside of us exists inside of us, but someone else might be manipulating what is inside of us, right? So this is where that planetary ideology comes in, right? You got to study the universal laws, laws of the cosmos, your laws of the universe, whatever they call it, whatever title you find it under, whatever is interested to you. This is where the planetary logos comes in, so on and so forth, right? So they keep the operation of our sea a certain way, right? They keep us in this mindset. It might be fear, it might be, sacral, it might be one of these lower three-dimensional chakras, that you're operating in, but they keep you in this, right? And this is why I say women are so important, because like this breaks down your DNA structure, right? Certain things that are in the DNA, the only one that can pass it is women, right? This is where the bearing of good fruit comes in, the topic of conversation when it's talking about bearing good fruit and all of that stuff, right? This is where all of that comes in, right? So when you start to understand this, and you're breaking down the vector codes, and you're breaking down the DNA structure, right? And you get into the RNA that is in the DNA, right? Men cannot pass this along. This comes from women. This is also attached to the spiritual side of your DNA, right? This is where, this is why I say like we have to put back, the nervous system of things, like put back this, fluid that's inside the body that, transmits and builds up in the spinal cord, so on and so forth, right? So this is why you have to get into this notion of things, right? And a lot of people don't want to realize this RNA protein, right? Now this can only be passed on. You got different variations, vector codes, so on and so forth. But we supposed to be using more than 23 chromosomes.
However, in RNA, the nitrogenous base is made up of nucleic acids, cytosine, C, guanine, G, adenine, A, and uracil, U. Also, each of the RNA nucleic acids is connected to the elemental substance of the planet as air, water, fire, and earth. In both DNA and RNA, the mitochondrial DNA serves as the fifth principal element of cosmic ether, which is sourced only from the mother. Allotropes.
Sourced only from the mother.
This is an example of allotropy, which is the property of some chemical elements to exist in two or more different forms, known as allotropes of these elements. Allotropes are different structural modifications of an element. Our DNA is the allotrope of the four main planetary elements.
See, our DNA is the Yahweh of the body, right? It is the Yahweh of the vessel. Our DNA, our very DNA, is the air, water, fire, earth elements of the DNA, right? And it can only be sourced through the mother, right? So this is where those programs actually exist, those trauma programs, those repeated programs that they keep us in. This is where that really exists because of this lack of information, this lack of knowledge, taking you guys out of the circulation of the book, the importance of you guys' vessel and building in that vessel and going through the cycle of the birth, or, you know, so on and so forth, right? So once you add in these misery programs, trauma bonding programs, victimizing programs, so on and so forth, now this is where that manipulation is taking place. This is where the problem is, right? It's talking about the Ark of the Covenant, right? The Ark of the Covenant. Once you realize this is something inside the vessel, realizing that the body is a temple, realizing that, you know, heaven is inside of you, realizing that there's, you know, different entities out here that are playing gods, and realizing that this is the 13th gateway, right? The pillar of the 13th gateway, the mystery 13, so on and so forth, right? Once you start coming into a lot of these realizations, thy rod and thy staff, so on and so forth, right? All of this different information that's connected to, you know, how, different variations of symbols of the body, if you would say. That's what they are. They're symbols of the body, right? Heavenly portals, gateways, whatever, all inside the vessel, all inside the body, right? And this is a planetary grid network. This is something that's bigger than you, bigger than me, right? This is something that is, always was, and always will be. People try to figure out the as above, so below, as without, so within concept, right? And we try to articulate this through different variations of, conversations, right? But really, when you're looking at this, right, the Aquarius sky that we're under, everything that's going on, the knowledge that's putting out there, right, the Arc Gateway, 13th lunar cycle, so on and so forth, right? This tells you that this is going to be a time that the waters will be put back, right? We might not have never understood what these waters was. We might not understand what omnipotent is, you know, so on and so forth, right? But ether is being released back into our atmosphere. Whether we want to believe it or not, ether is being released back, and it's pumping through us, it's pumping off of us, it's affecting our consciousness. The solar flares are affecting us, right? We might know about photosynthesis, but we might not really understand solar synthesis. We might not know what that is. What is solar synthesis, so on and so forth, right? So now we have to come into this grander understanding, opening up our mind's eye, opening up our pineals, training our mind, right? So therefore we can see a new heaven. The only way we can see a new earth is we see a new heaven first. Heaven is inside of you, right? So we will have to see a different change in the mind of people before we can see a different change in the physical world, right? Before we can start caring for one another, get back to a oneness, a unification process, you would have to see this change in people's mind's eye first. Something would have to change in your mind's eye before you would can even think about a change in the physical plane, right? So a lot of people understand this. A lot of people understand this Kundalini awakening, this energy, this Maharata energy, life force energy, so on and so forth, right? That's the first one right there. All right, they're gonna start pushing numbers out the room now. See, TikTok, y'all didn't do y'all thing, man. Y'all was supposed to protect the live, protect the live. Yeah, that's what y'all was supposed to do. Tap the screen, protect the live. Y'all didn't do that. Now we got visibility violations and shit. Gotta show ourselves on the screen. And y'all didn't go over to YouTube. We got to do better. We got to do better. Let me see if I can get this appeal. And I gotta talk like this because the mic is over here. Right? So listen, we can see this taking place. We can see this new knowledge being brought into the forefront of the world. But we can also see a fight against this new knowledge, right? And no matter how this knowledge is coming in, no matter how people are articulating it to you, no matter how they're bringing it to you, right? This knowledge is being brought back to this, plane of existence, right? We just find a way over here to articulate it, to connect it to things that you already know, right? Things that you already are used to hearing or connected to, right? So this is why we go into the Maha appeal not approved. Okay, don't approve it then. Don't give me another one. You better take those 10 minutes. All right, so this is how, this is why I say, a lot of this stuff is happening right now, right? A lot of this stuff is taking place right now, right? We might not have understood the timelines. We might not have understood what it was, right? Our timelines is a little bit off. Ethiopian timelines, they're probably in 2018 right now. So a lot of these timelines are probably a little off. But we can see this taking place, right? This is a level of hijacking that is on the scale of spirituality, really. Our spiritual path has been hijacked. We see people that are practicing different variations of things, destiny swapping, karma shifting, shape shifting, really, right? We might not understand the shapes that's being shifted, but these are entities that are jumping into different vessels, bodies, and latching on like parasites onto the bodies or vessels of mankind, right? This is where the, mother art comes in, so on and so forth, and these variations of knowledges that are already in our brain. See, the problem with this is the stuff that we are talking about is already in your brain, right? Someone might come along and spark that thought. Someone might come along and ignite that thought, ignite that, or remind you of that, but you're already thinking about it, especially if you're already coming across these different pages that's speaking about it. It's a reason why you're already coming across the pages that's speaking about it or already in the thought of it, right? When you talk about these different variations of the arcs of the covenant, or what is the arc, once you realize our galaxy is small and we actually live in a Andromeda bigger galaxy, right? And this is part of a smaller experiment of life. If you look at life as being a human experiment, a human trial and error, whatever you want to call it, right? Then you're looking at just what's taking place, right? This builder, the arc of the covenant, the time portals, who's in control of this, variations of things like that. But you wouldn't know what to look at because you have been taught, or we all have actually been taught, the human life, right? What our physical is going through. Nobody explained to you about the holy seed that is inside your body. Nobody explained to you about these these pillars that you might be building up in the house of ego or pride or some of these other things that we represent as a whole collectively, right? Nobody told us about these operations. We just use ego to get out of our environment, to survive in some of these environments, so on and so forth, right? A lot of people, fed these houses that exist inside of us and became these personas that is a representation of who they truly are, right? Nobody is really walking around who they truly are. Well, I'm not going to say nobody. There's a very few people that's walking around and being in their authentic or original selves, right? A lot of people are portraying whoever society is portraying them to be, because regardless of how we want to look at it, society has a way of shaping and molding us into the ideal image that we think we are today, right? Society made you. Remember, when you first started off, you probably had a toy or a bike that you wanted to show off and show out with, and you probably let somebody borrow that bike or that toy or whatever it was to show out with. You probably let somebody borrow it, and that person probably broke it or stole it or whatever the case may be. That made you a little bit harder, right? You became a little bit harder. You was determined not to, let people borrow stuff again. You know what I mean? That person that broke your heart, they broke your heart, and you was determined, I ain't gonna let nobody break my heart again. So you probably was out there breaking hearts, or you probably was out there, ducking relationships because you didn't want to go through that heartbreak again. You know what I mean? So these are different ways that society is actually shaping us. If you look at households actually shape us also. Like how we come out of the household is always based on how that family want the image to look. Oh, you're making our family look bad, so on and so forth, right? So all of this stuff is linear thinking, linear way of being. So now we have to open our minds to this new understanding of life, because our literally essence of what's inside of us is allowed to explore these galaxies again. It's like in the Aquarius sky, a gate has opened up for us. In the minds of the multitude, a gate has opened up. And that gate allows you to astro project beyond what we thought we can astro project before. In the time of belief, we never thought we can astro project this far before. But now that we're in the time of knowing, the Aquarius sky approaching the golden age, however you want to look at it, now we are accepted back into certain variations of the galaxy. So certain dimensions are opening back up to us, right? They don't want these variations of dimensions opened up to us. That's like, you got to think about it. Even if you go back to certain variations of things that was studied, taught, they kept on telling us like certain beings was trying to contact us, but we put the fear there. We put the stay away from us there. We put they not coming in to try to hurt us, harm us, or anything like that. They coming in to help us. But mankind doesn't want help. We're stubborn like that. This is where all those stubborn entities that exist, we've been put in the vessels of mankind. All the stubborn entities have been put and shoved into the vessels of mankind. It's the 666 curse, right? So we're inside the vessels of mankind, and we're limited to our conscious abilities, right? We're limited to our conscious abilities because we're being punished because of our stubbornness, right? And somehow, some way, we have to reunify or reconnect the mind to that creative mainframe. We have to reconnect it. If you understand what I'm saying, some of y'all understand what I'm saying. All right. Don't make it seem like everybody is not understanding. Breaking free, stepping out, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? However you want to look at this, life is changing as we know it. But somehow, some way, we got to put this knowledge back into circulation. Our kids' minds are ready for this new knowledge. right? Our kids' minds is ready for this new knowledge. It's the adults that's supposed to be teaching this new knowledge that they don't want to, they're not ready for it. Our kids' minds are already ready for it. This is why they're getting trapped in certain variations of dimensions of themselves, right? Our kids' minds is already opening up for it. You know what I mean? But we just label them spectrum or something like that and just, get them out the way. But our kids' minds is already opened up to a level of knowledge that we're not ready to give them or put back in circulation, whatever you want to call it. But the Pentagon is coming out with, alien disclosures and so on and so forth, right? The president is coming out with alien disclosures, everything like that, right? So it's about time that we open up our mind to, explore these different avenues, because it's not a fearful thing. When you're astro projecting, when you're exploring these different avenues, or however you want to call it, it's in your mind. You know what I mean? It's in your mind. The kids and the youth, they know that. They're still attached to what we call the imagination, right? The door's still open for them to explore these different avenues in their mind, right? Some adults have the capability of doing it, but not everybody have the capability of doing it, because life becomes hard and life becomes about survival, and then you get stuck in this materialistic world and you can't explore these other dimensions of your mind because you done closed them off. You done bottled them up with the ideas of imagination, or life done hit you so hard so many times that you done said, you know what, that's not for me anymore. Like I see now what, like, so you close off yourself to a lot of different variations of this, But when you have the mind of a kid and you're still able to, think past go, think about it. Like back in the day, we had the never ending story. Everybody wanted to ride five, or everybody wanted to be a part of that story. You know what I mean? The never ending story was something that we all was watching at the time. Like, man, I want me a long ass dog just like that. Everybody was like, man, I want me a long ass dog just like that. I want my dog to fly through the sky just like that. Y'all was thinking, some of y'all was picturing yourself being Atreyu. 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 Until I change the space, this mic has to be over here on this side, but I saw it's gonna look awkward in some, sense, because the mic is over here. I can't like adjust it on the table yet. So I might actually just move the mic all the way over here to this side, so it can be a little bit adjustable. Not sure. I have to figure that out. Cause I don't like this. This make me feel like there's a crook in my neck. Feel like it's a crook in my neck. But now these kids are being, they're coming in with a little bit of wokeness, they're coming in with a little bit of, mental astro projecting, and we can't get there with them. They coming in closing their eyes and they seeing the stars on the in their eyelids, you know what I mean, looking in their mind's eye. They're seeing these different variations of universe and galactic battles that's taking place, and when they tell it to us, we just like, oh man, get out of here. That's, when they telling us about this stuff, maybe you need to ask your kids more about their dreams, maybe you need to talk to your kids more about their dreams, see what's taking place on the other side of their universe. You know what I mean? Like, don't just take what we see in this physical world as part of the universe. Go ask about dreams, or if you haven't, some adults that's having dreams, go ask them about their dreams. What's the last dream they remember? I know we having a bunch of dreams in one session, but it's hard to remember. But ask some people that remember their dreams. What is it that you're dreaming about? So on and so forth, right? Because I didn't know until 2023, I didn't know if something is happening in the Lyran constellation, right? If something is happening in the Lyran constellation of the sky, it's affecting the northern part of our brain. I didn't know that. I didn't know that depending on if something's happening in this constellation or this part of the sky or that part of the sky, I didn't know that it was affecting our brain. I just thought headaches came from different variations of things like everybody else. I was like, man, if I had a headache, oh, it must be a coffee headache or something like that. Not all headaches are coming from things like that, right? Some things where some people are connected to the universe through our mind. So when things are happening in certain parts of the universe, it's affecting your brain, and you can also like, you know what I mean. All right, y'all keep on doing this live restriction thing. It ain't worth losing it for three people. So I'm just gonna end the live. TikTok. Make sure y'all go over to Ralph DaWise on YouTube. That's Ralph DaWise over on YouTube. All right. So we just gonna close this out because TikTok keep acting weird. So let's just close that. They saying that the visual is not there. But watch, as soon as I close it, they're gonna be like, "You won your appeal." Yippee. As soon as I close TikTok, they're gonna be like, "You won your appeal. You're welcome to be on there now." Shoot. Eat. Hmm. Yo, YouTube, listen. We need more members. Need more memberships to the page. Don't worry about it. We got to get more memberships to the page, more traction on the page, more people in the Discord, more people ready to, for this knowledge and everything like that. So that's what we got to do. All right. Work with me here, people. Work with me here. Okay. We work together. Nothing can stop us. You know, if we work together, nothing can stop us. Okay. It's like Optimus Prime, you know. Um, I think it's like, like I think that's with everything, you know what I mean? To be honest. I think that's with everything if you think about it, you know? You gotta think about it. Like a lot of the stuff that goes on in this world, you know, people have like, maybe manipulation, maybe whatever you want to call it. But the world is definitely upside down. We live in an upside down world, right? And in that upside down world, we have this idea that the world is good. So everybody's under that idea that we live in a good world, even though we don't, right? Even though and see that we don't live in a good world, in your mind, you think so, right? In your mind, you're thinking this, right? Oh, since we're not on there no more. Put these on now since we're not on TikTok. Now we don't have to do it. Now if we play this. Everybody in the Discord, go get a copy of the Discord and try to tell other people to follow the Discord. Yeah, go get everybody. Y'all, this week's task is for everybody to bring 5 people to the Discord. That's smart. like homework. I'm telling y'all. Now we might not understand exactly what was just said, right? Might not know all of what was just said, but this is talking about stargates and portals, right? That are inside the body, inside the vessels. This is inside the vessels. Women's vessels lead to these places, right? And through the, sex process, right? Different variations. This is why you take on, certain, DNA of men and everything like that, right? That's why this stuff happens, right? Because these are portals that are in the body, biologically in the body, that they know about through different knowledge of the holy see that's inside of you, right? So they knew that they can transport demonic entities and so on and so forth through these operations, right? Through these different portals. They knew, and they started manipulating these different portals. Listen to me. You can't hear it? I knew once I switched it, you might not be able to hear it if I switch the headset. All right, hold on. Tell me if you can hear it now. Wait, can you hear it now?
The main biological function of a nitrogenous base in DNA is to bond nucleic acids together. Adenine is always paired with thymine, and guanine is always paired with cytosine. These are known as base pairs. Uracil is only present in RNA, replacing thymine and pairing with adenine. Both RNA and DNA use base pairs, male plus female, as a complementary language that can be converted back and forth between the DNA to RNA by the action of the correct enzymes. This male-female language or base paired structure provides a backup copy of all genetic information encoded within double-stranded DNA.
So this is why I say, like, some stuff is embedded and coded in our DNA, right? Some of this stuff is embedded and coded in the DNA, right? But then some of it is placed through different variations of trauma, so on and so forth, right? Now, back before the Atlantis cataclysm, like people knew this knowledge before. When people always say like, why does it seem like we had better technology back then than we do now? Why does it seem like the things that they were using back then, you see people with old cell phones, so on and so forth, that back to the future type mindset or whatever, right? But this, when you have to get into the reptilian, usurpatory, spiritual fraction, criminating the mind, right? This is when you get into this, right? When you get into this is where that whole, concept, this is where that controversy sells, the black hole, right? We are creating these black holes, we are creating these black holes. How? Because we are corrupting the minds of the multitude. If everybody in the sky is a representation of a star or a star system or a star colony, right? Then this will explain why it's so dark, because we are dimming stars, right? We are not feeding the brain. We are not putting knowledge back where it's supposed to be. We are not, we are not building intellectual beings anymore. We're not building, we're not being, we just not doing it. And then you got to ask that question to why. Why are we not being that of which is? We got the technology. We can be better. We could be good people. We could be decent people. Why are we not doing it? Why are we not trying to be better? Why are we in a society where people are actually worse? People are getting praised for being worse. It's like the worse you could be now, the greater society praises you. The worse you could be now, the greater society is like, yeah, that's what we need. We need that. For real. Think about it. Society right now is upside down. Society is upside down. There's no possible way you can say that what you see in society is not a fight. It has to be a fight. I don't want to think that evil has won like that. I don't want to think that evil just won out like that. Like, nah. Come on. Ain't no way. Ain't no way evil just out like that. Nah. No way. No way. Can't possibly be that much evil in this world. That evil's winning like that. Nah. Come on. We got to do better collectively. We got to be better collectively, you know what I mean? But everybody's scared to gather now. Now they put the fear on gathering now. So now everybody's scared to come together. Everybody's scared to gather. Everybody's scared to hang out. Everybody's scared to kick it. Everybody's scared to be in the same place at the same time. It's fear. It's fear that you guys are living in. We can't get out of the idea world that we live in right now because fear traps you. Fear has you stuck right now. Look at that. Appeal approved. Every time I end the live, y'all always try to approve the appeal. I'm telling you, just look at the society that we live in. Fear has everyone trapped in some form, way, fashion. Fear has everyone trapped. You might not want to admit it, you might not want to accept it, but whether it be fear of finances, fear of how people are going to look at you, fear of, think about it. A lot of y'all are scared to type in the comment section, scared to say that y'all like the live because of fear of what somebody's going to do or say if you support this content creator or that content creator, right? So like let's not make it seem like fear is not the, a controlling factor in everyone's lives. You know what I mean? You know? People are controlled by the societies that they live in, if you would say. You know what I mean? People are literally always in certain variation of fear, like in this world, because this world, it's hard on us. It's hard on us. You know what I mean? Like, so people be looking and people be like, man, I don't see nothing bad or wrong with this person, but because the collective says something is bad or wrong with this person, you don't want to, make it look like you are on the side of that person. And you see this happening in everything. Like everybody's clicking up and everybody's choosing somebody else's crew to be the wrong crew. If you ain't a part of us, then it don't even matter. We don't care whose you is. We don't. What? What? You know? But you see that happening now. You see that happening more than ever now, especially on YouTube. You see it happening. Like if you ain't a part of my crew, then we ain't rocking with you. Like, yo, what? What crew? What happened? When did we get here? When did we get to that place? Yeah, it don't matter. Don't matter. So that's one of the main reasons why, like, I refuse to be stuck in that mindset, right? I refuse to stay trapped in that mindset because I feel like if we all are trying to be more understanding of each other, if we're all trying to be more, you know what I mean, then the real reality should be, righteousness. The real reality should be a unification for what is right. It shouldn't be like, well, I disagree with this person because they're a girl. I disagree with this person because they're like, what? Nah, we should all agree with right. We should all agree with right. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be no dang on, oh, well, shit. My feelings is with this person, so my feelings and emotions is locked in with them. How? How? Somebody make it make sense that we are basing our whole everything off of who feels this way and who feels like there's no way. There is no possible way that our life is based off of this repeated rhetoric or notion of something. I don't want to believe that. I do not want to believe that this repeated notion of something is like this is life. This is life. Nah, we gotta want better for each other collectively. I want better for everybody because I feel like we could do way better together. You know, I know we can do so much more together. I know we can, but how do you create a collective like that? You know, you got to get those people, like-minded people, you know what I mean, But once you get those like-minded people, once everything, then you can, you know, but you gotta take the trial and error. You gotta take the good with the bad, if you would say, gotta take the good with the bad, if you would say, you know what I mean? It's the pros and the cons of this. But why so much negative in this world? Where is the good entities at? Where is the good people in this world at? Like, there has to be a collective of good people somewhere. I promise you they're out there somewhere. Like, just where are they at? Someone please tell me. Because they're out there, you know? They're out there. That collective is out there, you know? Just weird. Weird. That's all I'm saying is weird. Where is it at? It just gotta be. Because that's the collective that we supposed to be a part of. We supposed to be a part of the positive bunch, you know what I mean? We supposed to be a part of the positive group. We ain't supposed to be a part of this negative ass group. You know what I'm saying? He's not supposed to be a part of this negative ass group. This negative group. That's why we gotta just stay true to it. Like, you know what I mean? To the knowledge and wisdom, like hold on to it. You know what I mean? 30 days, 30 to 90 days of it. And we should see a great change. You know what I mean? Everybody still got their negative, everybody's still doing their little negative 1, 2s, and 3s. They still doing that. You see it. You see the negative 1s and 2s happening. You see it. We don't need to be that. It's already enough of that in the world. You know what I mean? It's already enough of that in the world. You know what I mean? That's why you see this, tell me you don't see these extremities of lust that's in the world right now. Listen to this. Tell me this is not accurate. Listen.
Extreme forms of lust is stemming from mind control miasma that was programmed into levels of the human genetic material from many hidden histories of forced breeding programs with reptilian-based races or refugee races. This is related to both distortions of bloodlust and sexual lust. These forced breeding programs initially were attempting to create attraction to have sexual relations with a species that was not desirable to your own race, in addition to creating hybridization races. In the ancient days, on other planets, in many cases people were not sexually nor physically attracted to a being that was not of their specific race or genetic material. This was not necessarily discrimination, it was the natural energetic composition that existed, or differed, between the gene pool, which is a form of collective consciousness. The consciousness of specific genetic material was not designed to hybridize with other species and would naturally repel itself from the desire to do so. This is similar to understanding that a human being would not want to have sex with animal species and procreate with that animal. So the answer was to combine genetics in a laboratory setting in order to continue the experimentation of interbreeding with different species for a range of enhancements designed for specific purposes. It is similar to say that the royal lines of humans from the times of Lyra did not have any attraction or desire to have sex or children with invading reptilian races. Timelines of this related trauma around breeding programs, forced sexual relations, and the problems with hybridization are all entangled in the sexual misery programming. This posed a severe problem on Earth with moon chain lineages, the creatures that digressed into the energetic fields of lusting entities in the Earth, and the demonic hierarchies that feed upon them. These multiple hierarchies are used by the NAA off-planet to enforce, promote, and spread the NRG's sexual distortions. This manifests in forms of deviant, disconnected, violent sexual relations connected to lust, which leads to sexual addiction. Any person who is controlled by lust will be a hand puppet for the NA1.
And I'm trying to tell y'all, you see these people that are driven by lust, and the consciousness of them pushing that out is great because they want people to be in the idea of lust. You know what I mean? They want people to be in that lustful idea, also that fearful state of being, so on and so forth. So all of this works for the negative alliance. All of this stuff works for them. The things that we see in this world right now, this works for them. You know what I mean? You go back to the study of Lemuria and Atlantis and how the Lemurians fought, so on and so forth, right? And then they relocated, so on and so forth, all of this different stuff, right? This goes back to what they fought for, right? But the real importance is the crystals, the crystal knowledge, the knowledge of these crystals that was up under the earth and how it affects everything and so on and so forth, right? They took that out. They took the knowledge of the crystals. We are crystalline properties within inside of us, right? Within inside of us is crystalline properties, so on and so forth, right? They knew about this. They knew about this. They didn't want us to
The
know
Lemurian
about it.
Holocaust was the first major event of planet Earth genocide memories, which happened about 50,000 years ago. The Anunnaki, patriarchal Melchizedeks, allowed Orion Group to stage an Draco invasion underground in secret deception. The Draco of Orion Group tunnels between Lemuria and Atlantean continents. Humans found out and tried to seal off underground tunnels with cataclysmic result that destroyed the Earth's surface. Earth core implosions destroy portions of the Pacific Ocean continent. Inner Earth and underground tunnels are rendered unstable. Earthquakes, volcanoes, floods and sinkholes wreak devastation, killing thousands of humans. The forthcoming ice age forced the Lemurians underground. Sea root races. While underground, they started to organize the rebuilding of planetary portals and repair the Arc Gate with guardian groups. This was the first stage of planetary cataclysm that is the hidden history and memories of the human root races that is recorded in our DNA, and of which the NAA wants us to forget this memory so they can continue to manipulate humanities into the Armageddon software, which is based on these previous timelines of Holocaust and genocide memories.
Now, this operation is simple, right? And the reason why I say this operation is simple is because this is just keeping our minds trapped in something that's repeated, right? So our minds are trapped in this repeated rhetoric, repeated. You don't even know that your mind is trapped in it because you're just stuck in it, right? This is the conundrum of life, right? Everything is always like, even if you look at certain situations that's taking place, it's always like some long trauma, like some story about how, well, they were this way or that way, or the parents was this way or that way, or this happened to them or that happened to them. Everything is understandable once you add the trauma there. Like, everybody's life becomes understandable if you add the trauma there. Oh, I can see why they did that now. Once you add the trauma, once you add the trauma, then you can see everything. Like, oh, okay, when you add the trauma, now I can see why they did this, and I can see why this happened or that happened. But you gotta add that trauma. That trauma gotta get added first. If that makes sense. Like, you're gonna add that trauma first. Yeah, like it's normal to be in toxicity. It's normal. They're normalizing toxic relationships now to where as though it's like, you can see toxic relationships and it's like, shit, that's normal now. This is regular. Toxicity is regular now. You know, everybody's going after it now. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants toxicity now. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants toxicity. It's like, yo, like I want that toxic relationship. I want that, you know. I don't know, man. We in for some shit. Some stuff gonna be revealed to us for sure. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff has to be revealed to us, right? For us to truly understand this world, a lot more is gonna have to be revealed to us. Let's be honest about that. For us to truly understand this world, so much more has to be revealed to us. You know? Because right now, like what's being revealed to us could be like a lot of people are not going to pay attention to it because it's entertaining right now. All of this is still entertaining. You know what I mean? It's like devastation and certain things that have to take place in order for us to be like, oh shit, this is very much deeper than what we thought. You know what I mean? Like once that happened, then we can be like, okay, shit. But right now, people ain't going to see the depths of it. Right now, people going to see like, you know, the smaller part, but they're not going to see the depths of it right now because of certain variations of things. They're just like looking at it, and they ain't going to see the depths of it. You know. So that's why I say like so much stuff, so much more stuff will happen before people really understand like what's happening. So much more stuff will happen before that. A lot more stuff will happen before that to where as though you'll be like, hmm, I get it now. You know, once you realize, like, oh shit, I get it now. I see what's happening in this world. Then it becomes different. Then it becomes a different level of understanding. You know what I mean? But until we realize, like, what's really happening in the world, like, you know, we are going to be stuck in this idea of the world at this time. The idea of this world is not to the understanding of this world. The understanding of this world and the idea of this world is two different things. You know what I mean? The understanding of this world, yeah, like the understanding of this world and the idea of this world is two completely different things. you know. Yeah, it's going to be hard because you got to understand, like, being creatures of habit, as creatures of habit, you know what I mean? Everybody's not going to be, you know, ideally in that persona, right? So like, as creatures of habits, you know, people are going to look at this and it's not going to be perceived the same. And the reason why it's not going to be perceived the same is because their minds are not adequate to doing the same mathematical equation when it comes to life as someone else is, right? Whereas though somebody might repeat the same thing over and over again and then come to the realization like, damn, I need to change my approach in order to get this done, right? But somebody in their mindset will try to make it seem like the other person is the one that should change their approach. Like, no, they need to deal with me differently. Like, no, I ain't got to do nothing. They need to stop dealing with me like that. They need to respect me. They need to, like, so you'll see that in life, you know. You'll see that same thing in life, you know. Mm. You know. But the world that we live in is definitely, you know, upside down. You know, that's the world we live in. You know, it's simple as that. You got to look at how upside down the world is, how we accept this world that we live in. Like, history didn't change nothing. You know, money manipulation and the banking system only put people in further fear, you know, fear of this getting took, fear of that getting took, fear of not having this, fear of not having that, right? So what's the real get out? What's the real, you know what I mean? Well, you're absolutely right. When it comes to changing their mind and their hearts, one must be built, you know, in that strength, that wheelhouse. That wheelhouse has to be there. A lot of people are not strong in that wheelhouse. That particular wheelhouse that it takes in order to do that, the integrity that it takes to do that, the, you know, tenacity, if you would say, you know what I mean? So that question becomes a what if, right? Because like we looking at a world that's not willing to change. We looking at the youth that's not willing to change. And now I gotta go back to, you know, the Georgia Guidestones, you know. Now I'm feeling like, you know, well, maybe the Georgia Guidestones had it right. Maybe we are supposed to lower the population. Because now I'm trying to think like, what the heck? You know? Now I'm on the mindset of like, what the heck? We might have to lower the population. Oh man, it's so hot outside. I want to know. Listen, the president and everything already released information on a bunch of stuff. Like, we are not in this world by ourselves. We are not alone in this universe or this verse or whatever. We are not alone. You know what I mean? You know? But we're here. We're here. I got to go check on a couple of animals out there on the farm. I got to go water some things and do some other things, but we will be back later with some more chat talk. You know, y'all gotta look, build up to join the panel or something, okay? Build up to join the panel, okay? And we are trying to put some funds together for some stuff. We're looking for some investors, some private investors, or some, you know, if you want to be public, you can be public, but you know they're going to attack you and tear you down, especially over here in this sector. Anybody that tries to support us, you know, whatever, openly, whatever the case may be, you know, I see what's happening. I see how hard the struggle is to show support over here. But you know, if you want to support, if you want to continue supporting, we got donkeys out here now. We got goat out here now. We got a bunch more chicken out here now. We got plants in the ground now. Like, got a lot of stuff going on. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff going on that I can use you guys' help with. A lot. Okay? A lot of stuff. Yeah, I know the way people be acting an ass. I bet it is donkeys on this app.
You know the soul does its role, the heart's doing what it's told. Sit back and just you listen. When love comes, it's on a mission. With your mind, you get choice. Can't ignore your inner voice. You know that sweet gut feeling, all that it's been revealing. You already know we're good to go. Ain't nobody gonna steal the show. Your heart's led to me, tethered to me, platinum cord right to me. Your heart's led to me. So what they talking about? They don't know. It's love. They don't
just us two. Over there, so remiss. Mad cause we got love like this. They already know we're good to go. So nobody gonna steal the show. Your heart's led to me. Your heart's led to me. Tethered to me. Platinum cord right to me. Your heart's led to me. So what they talking about? Play smart and we listen to our heart. They never tear us apart. We've been tied from the start. If they try to play smart and we listen to our heart. They never tear us apart. We've been tied from the start. Your heart's led to me. To me. Said right to me. You're right to me. Platinum cord to me. Right to me. Your heart's led to me. So what they talking about?